Welcome to the Chop Seat, where Braves country meets the big leagues. Your host Vic is here to break down everything from truest part to the top of the standings across the league. From walk-offs to wild trades, this is your seat for everything baseball, but a heavy dose of chop. So grab your glove and settle in, because the Chop Seat is open.
Welcome to the Chop Seat, your favorite place for Braves, baseball, and the rest of the league. I'm your host, Vic, and today is Monday, September 15th. Listen, September 15th means we are now 2 weeks away from playoff baseball starting. 2 weeks away. Therefore, if your team is in the hunt, you got to start turning it up soon because you only got 2 weeks left. If your team is struggling a little bit, shout out to my my friends, my dear friends, Lil Bro, the LOL Mets. If your team is sliding a little bit, you better stop it. You better cut it off. Because, listen, if you don't turn around in these 2 weeks, it's curtains for you. It's curtains for you. And when it comes to the Mets, if they do indeed end up choking this one, this might be an all-time choke job. This might be my favorite one thus far. But we'll see. We'll see. They're still in a good spot. We're going to see where they stand and the rest of the teams when we get to the MLB. We're going to look at the standings. We're going to look at the action from around the league during the weekend. We're going to look at the previous Braves series and Tomahawk Takes. It's another series loss for the Braves. That's 5 straight series losses for the Braves. And then we're going to look at the upcoming series that starts tonight on the road. The last road trip for the Braves this season starts tonight. So let's get into it. Let's get into the action. You guys know already how we do. You know where we start off.
It's time for Tomahawk Takes.
It's time for Tomahawk Takes, where we take a look at the previous Braves series. But before we get into that, Tomahawk Takes is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code CHOPSEAT20, as you can see below, to save yourself $20 off your first purchase on SeatGeek. The playoffs are starting soon. MLB playoffs. Buy your tickets now. Use code CHOPSEAT20. Save yourself $20 and get yourself a drink, some popcorn, Cracker Jacks, whatever you guys want. After you save your $20 off using code CHOPSEAT20. NFL is underway. Football is back, baby. Use code CHOPSEAT20. Catch yourself a football game this season. Anyways, the Braves, they started a series with the Houston Astros that came into town. A little 2021 World Series rematch. This time around, the Astros, they get the best of the Braves. They take 2 out of 3 on the road. And this is a team that obviously they have some playoff aspirations. They flopped. They kind of flip-flopped a little bit due to the team that was right behind them. That team is hot. That's the Seattle Mariners. We're going to take a look at where they stand in the MLB standings as well a little bit later on. But even though the Astros, came into town, the Braves were at least able to take one. The struggling Braves were able to take one and avoid the sweep. And that was game 3 of the series that the Braves were able to win. Game 1, though, it was an 11-3 victory for the Houston Astros. We're not going to speak too much on that. But again, these Braves losses are getting worse and worse. It's almost double digits a lot of the time. It's pretty bad. It's a nightmare season. We just can't wait for this nightmare season to end. Enjoy some playoff baseball, nice and relaxed. You don't got to root for your team. Less stressful. It's going to be less stressful this season for sure. But then once that's over, the 2026 season starts 5 days after the World Series, when you can start declining or moving on with player options. That's when the 2026 season officially starts. That's what I'm looking for. That's what Braves country is looking for, to see what's going to happen with this future Braves ball club. But anyways, game 1, it was started by Jaden Murray for the Houston Astros. He was out there as an opener. He goes 3 innings, just 1 hit allowed, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. For the Braves, it was Hurston Waldrep. This was a first start where he really, really struggles. He gave up 8 runs on 8 hits and 4 2/3 of an inning, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He took the L. He's now 4-1 with a 2.78 ERA. It was pretty much over in this ball game. But the top of the 5th, the Astros, they put up 6 runs on the board. That was it. That was GG's. For the Braves, the way they scored those runs, it was Ronald Acuna Jr. He hits a solo homer. That's number 16 of the season for him. And then Eli White, at the very end of the game, he hits a pinch hit 2-run homer. That was the way the Braves got the 3 runs that they scored. But again, it was an 11-3 victory for the Houston Astros. Game 2, the Astros win this one as well, 6-2. It was started by their ace, Hunter Brown. He goes 6 2/3, 4 hits allowed, 2 runs. Both of those earned 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. He's now 12-7 with a 2.27 ERA. Phenomenal season from him. He was going up against Bryce Elder, and we got the real Bryce Elder in this game. He goes 4 1/3, 10 hits allowed, 6 runs. All those earned 3 walks. Somehow he manages to pick up 7 strikeouts in the ballgame, but he takes the L. He's now 7-10 with a 5.56 ERA. The Astros, they scored 3 in the second. They scored 3 in the third as well. Matt Olson, he's the one that helped us score a run. He had a solo shot, number 24 of the season for him. And then newly acquired Ha-Seong Kim, he had an RBI single on that one. And I got to say, Ha-Seong Kim has filled in pretty fine. He's fit in well. You know, you can rely on him a bit more, obviously a bit more than Nick Allen. And you can see that. Nick Allen, for him to get an RBI single, it took a while. It was tough. It was tough waiting to see Nick Allen. And no, nothing against Nick Allen. Like I said in previous episodes, this guy's a beast with a glove. This dude's a wizard. He definitely is a wizard when it comes to defense. But on the batting side, it was just too much. It was too much of a difference. Ha-Seong Kim is obviously going to be more balanced when it comes to both sides of the field. And you can see that we've seen that thus far. And I mean, he's not going crazy with it either. So I don't see why he would be declining that $16 million play option that he has. Now, if he was going crazy, going 3 for 4 in every single game, then you might expect them to be like, you know what, I'm gonna take my chances and see what's going on in the free agent market. I mean, he is a Scott Boras guy, so you got to remember that he still might go out there and try his chances and see what he's able to get. But again, he's not lighting up the scoreboard, the box score. So he should, unless he really doesn't want to be in Atlanta, he should be exercising his player option and staying in Atlanta at least a year. And then hopefully Anthopoulos is able to, give him a 2-year deal, maybe 3-year deal, and bring the price down a little bit, securing him a couple years or 3. And, a win-win for both sides. But anyways, we'll see how that ends up going. That's why I'm excited to see the conclusion of this season. I want to simulate to the end already, guys. I want to simulate to the end because I want to see the moves that we're going to make. I want to see what's going on with Ha-Seong Kim. I want to see what's going on with Brian Snitker. I want to see. We still got to wait and see about Ozzy's option. I want to see what's going on with that. I want to see what's going to go on with the catcher spot with Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin. I know Sean Murphy got hurt, but I do think Baldwin is going to be able to handle the catcher spot on his own. So I want to see if they actually try and move Sean Murphy. What else we got pending that we know that are things that are going to go down? Losing my train of thought, unfortunately. I mean, even a center field, Michael Harris, you don't know what's going to happen there. You don't know. And then we obviously need some pitching arms, some pitchers. The closer spot as well. We got Raisel Iglesias his final year. We got Marcell Ozuna. This is his final year as well. I'm assuming they're going to let Ozuna walk. Raisel, they're probably going to bring him back maybe on a cheaper deal. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But these are all things that I'm curious to see how it's going to go down, how these moves are going to be made accordingly. And this is why I cannot wait for the end of the season, the end of the playoffs, the end of the World Series. Let's get the offseason started, bro. We've been in offseason mode since the trade deadline. So we've been pretty patient, bro. Let's go. Let's simulate this entire season, man. But anyways, going back to the games, Game 3, it was an 8-3 victory for the Braves. The Braves end up winning one. That was against Framber Valdez going for the Astros. No catchers were hurt in the making of this victory. No one was crossed up. He was 4 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. All those earned 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. He's now 12-10 with a 3.59 ERA. For the Braves, it was Joey Wentz, way better than he was last time. 4 innings, 6 hits, allowed 2 runs. Those were earned, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. He now has a 5.56 ERA. Matt Olson, He had another solo homer in this game, number 25 of the season for him. That tied it up at 1 in the bottom of the first. Then Ozzie Alvis, he drove in 2 with a bases-loaded single. Ha-Seong Kim, his first 3-hit game as a Brave. He had an RBI single. Later on, Ozzie, who's definitely been hitting way better in the second half, he had an RBI double that scored Profar from first. And then the big hit was from Sandy Leon. Yes, you heard that right. Backup catcher Sandy Leon. He hit a 2-run homer out to the chop house. That made it 8-3 Braves, and that's the way the game ended. And yeah, I know it's crazy to hear Sandy Leon. I know it's wild, but listen, he's on the squad. He was actually starting out there. And listen, he had a 2-run homer to the chop house, bro. You gotta give him props. That's the way the Braves won the game to avoid the series before going out on the road starting tonight. What I was gonna say, we got news, some IL news. It was Jake Fraley. He was put in a 10-day IL. Luke Williams was brought up as a corresponding move, and then Daysbel and Hernandez. That was on Friday. He was moved to the 15-day IL, and Hunter Stratton was recalled from AAA as the corresponding move there. I think that's all I got, though, honestly, bro. The only thing I want to say is, man, Michael Harris, bro, what an up and down year he's had, bro. First half struggles badly. Start of the second half, he starts cooking. He started cooking crazy, bro. Dude was hitting everything that was thrown his way. And then again, another decline in the stat sheet for him, bro. He cannot hit anything to save his life again. It's kind of tricky, bro. It's kind of tricky with him, but you know, he made adjustments, and then I guess they adjusted to those adjustments. He's gonna have to make another adjustment apparently. So we'll see if he's able to end the season on the right foot. You want him to end the season on the right foot because he's a key part of this franchise right now. One of the best defensive center fielders for sure. He's probably top 3, honestly, when it comes to the glove now in today's game. But man, and when he's hitting, bro, he's up there, bro. When he's hitting, but he needs to start hitting consistently. You can't be terrible in the first half and turn it up in the second half and then drop right back down again. You know, it's something that he's gonna have to work on for sure to be successful in this league. But he has a talent. We already know he has a talent. We saw how he was able to turn it around. So hopefully he's able to turn it around this week, starting this week, heading into the next week as well, and end the season on the right foot. So that's all I have for Tomahawk Takes. That's the way the series went down again. 5 straight series losses for the Braves. Hopefully they end the streak, starting with this series that they're going to have tonight, starting tonight. In Washington, D.C. against the Nationals. We're going to take a preview of that in the Braves forecast. But for now, that's all we have for Tomahawk Takes. Now let's head into our next segment.
It's time for the MLB.
It's time for the MLB, where we take a look at the action from around the league. We had 2 series that started on Thursday. Those were 4-game sets into the weekend. The first series that was a 4-game set was the Colorado Rockies at the San Diego Padres. Remember, we spoke about these 2 series last Friday. But again, just to remind you, the Padres, they got win number 1 in the opening game of this series. They won that one 2-0. Friday's game, though, the Rockies, they bounced back. They won that one 4-2 on the road. Saturday, though, the Padres, they come out 11-3 victory there. And then on Sunday's game, they win that one as well, 9-6. And they end up taking 3 out of 4 from the Colorado Rockies. And they stay right on track when it comes to the playoff picture. We'll see where they stand at shortly. The other 4-game series we had was the LA Angels at the Seattle Mariners. Remember, the Mariners walked game 1, 7-6 victory there. They walked it off in 12 innings. In game number 2 on Friday, Mitch Garver with a go-ahead solo shot in the bottom of the 7th. That helps the Mariners win that one 2-1. Saturday's game, 5-3 victory for your Seattle Mariners. And then in game 4, 11-2 victory there. They are now atop the AL West, solo, standing atop the AL West mountain by 1 game. We're going to see again I'm going to keep mentioning this, but we're going to see in the standings how everyone is looking once we're done with all the scores. The Tampa Bay Rays they were at the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs win game 1 6-4. Game 2, though, the Rays, they come back. They win this one 5-4. Nick Fortes with a go-ahead homer in the top of the ninth. That secures the victory there for them. But the Cubs, they end up taking 2 out of 3 by winning the rubber match of Nico Horner with a go-ahead 2-run double. That gives them the win, 4-3 victory there and the series win. Then we have the Washington Nationals hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Nationals win game 1 6-5. The Pirates bounce back in game 2. They win 5-1. But the Nationals win the rubber matchup 4-3 there in a series of a couple of scrub teams as of right now. But hey, you got to be honest. I mean, it can't be talking too much, though, as a Braves fan, but you got to be honest. At least the series we had, the Astros were a good team. This series that I just mentioned, you got 2 scrub teams. You got to be real, man. You got to be real. Anyways, Kansas City Royals were at the Philadelphia Phillies Citizens Bank Park. Phillies win game 1 8-2. They say, yo, let's put up another 8-game win. 8-run win, 8-6 victory. And then the Royals are able to win the final game 10-3 thanks to Salvador Perez 5 RBI game. Schwarber had home number 52 of the season for him in this one, but again, it was not enough. It was a 10-3 victory for the Kansas City Royals. But even though they lost, the Phillies, they clinched a postseason berth with the Giants loss, so they were popping some bottles most likely out in Philly. Congrats on clinching a postseason berth. We had another team that clinched the spot. We'll see in a little bit. Baltimore Orioles at the Toronto Blue Jays, man. The Toronto Blue Jays, they bring out the brooms. I'm telling you, this team is going to the World Series against the San Diego Padres. I've been telling you guys this for a while. If you're not listening to the Chopsy, then listen. Just trust me, bro. Toronto Blue Jays at the San Diego Padres is going to be the World Series this year. This is a team to beat, bro. You can see they got that spark. They got that magic, bro. You know when you watch the team and they got that magic. This is that ball club. 6-1 victory in game 1. The Blue Jays were down 4-2 in the bottom of the ninth. They were 3 in the bottom of the ninth in game number 2, and they walk it off on a sac fly by Alejandro Kirk. 5-4 victory there. And then they bring out the brooms. 11-2 victory. The Blue Jays score 6 in the 7th to win that game 11-2. Again, they bring out the brooms against the Baltimore Orioles. They sweep and they stay hot, baby. They stay hot. Next, we go to our friends in Queens, little bro, struggling to stay in the playoff picture. The Texas Rangers, the Red Hot Texas Rangers, came into town. They won game 1 8-3. Jonah Tong, the rookie for the Mets, he gives up 6 runs in the first inning. The Boobers are out. Poor kid, man. You guys got to take it easy on him, bro. He's a rookie. Chill out. You're asking too much from the kid. You put him in a tough spot, and then you're going to boo him? You're going to boo him at home, bro? That's messed up. Y'all got to think about what y'all doing, Mets fans. You got to think about what y'all doing. They also lose game 2 of the series, a 3-2 loss for the Mets. They made it 8 games lost in a row for the Mets. It was tied 2-2 in the top of the ninth. Wyatt Langford with a go-ahead single. That's the way the Texas Rangers win that one. Rangers looking for the sweep in game 3, but Pete Alonso, he comes up clutch again. Identical homer to the one they hit last year against the Brewers. An opposite field 3-run homer. He walks it off in the bottom of the 10th inning. That's how the Mets avoid the sweep. And listen, the Mets were just half a game up on the Giants after Saturday's action. They were able to bring that up a little bit. We'll see why in the standings shortly. Next, we go to Next, we go to the Chicago White Sox at the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians trying to stay hot, trying to play some good ball. And they bring out the brooms in this one against the Chicago White Sox. 4-0 victory in game 1, 3-1 in game 2, and then Bo Naylor with a go-ahead home run in game 3. A 3-2 victory there for them. The Detroit Tigers at the Miami Marlins. The Marlins, they take game 1 8-2. They take game 2 6-4 in the 11th inning. Troy Johnson with a 2-run homer, a walk-off. That's how they walk it off. That was the second of the game for him. 2-homer night, one of them being a walk-off. That's a great night when I see one. And then the Tigers able to win game number 3 to avoid the sweep. They win that one 2-0. There was a report Tarik Skubal is on track to start his next game on Thursday. Remember, he was out from his last start, but he will be back on track. So that's good news for the Detroit Tigers. You cannot lose Tarik Skubal this late in the season. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot lose your ace. You're going to need him in the short series for sure, in any series, but especially in the short series if you are going to be playing in the first round. We'll see how everything rounds up. Next, though, a big series. New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. Aaron Judge, historic homer number 362 to pass Joe DiMaggio on the fourth on the all-time Yankees homer list. That was number 47 of the season for him. He leads the Yankees to a 4-1 win on the road at Fenway Park. Next, Max Fried and Jazz Chisholm Jr. They lead the Yankees to a victory there. That was Fried's win number 17 of the season. Jazz Chisholm, homer number 29 of the season for him. It was a 5-3 victory for the Yankees. But then Boston, they come back in game number 3. They score 6 in the bottom of the first. Aaron Judge, he had homer number 48 season here, but it was not enough. It was a 6-4 victory for the Red Sox. Aroldis Chapman saved number 30 for the Cuban Missile. Continues to cook. Arizona at the Minnesota Twins, 9-8 victory for the Twins here. The D-backs, they put up 4 runs in the top of the 9th. They take the lead 8-6. But the Twins, they scored 3 in the bottom of the 9th. Luke Keyshaw with a walk-off sack by Cody Clemens. Shout out to Cody Clemens. My brother-in-law Mike and I had his pops, Roger Clemens, for an interview in the Mike the New Haven show. Shout out to Cody, bro. A 3-homer game for him. Definitely, his dad was proud of him in that ball game. Next, though, the second game of the series, it was a 5-2 victory for the D-backs. The D-backs, they have put up 3 in the top of the 9th thanks to Blaze Alexander and Gabriel Moreno. That's how they win that one. And then they win the final game of the series 6-4. Now they find themselves 2 games back of the Mets for that final wild card spot. So the Diamondbacks still keeping their hopes alive. We'll see how they're able to do in these last 2 weeks. St. Louis Cardinals at the Milwaukee Brewers. It was an 8-2 victory for the Brewers. And this one, who else we had? We had a 9-8 victory. Sorry, I'm just losing my spot here on my stat sheet. Second game was a 9-8 victory for the Brewers. They clinch a postseason berth. It was a walk-off, a single by Andrew Monasterio. And it was a cool moment. I saw there was a video that was posted. Manager Pat Murphy, he read a letter by the late Bob Uecker to the team after clinching their postseason berth. Listen, you're a Brewers fan, you got to be running through walls right now. You got to be running through the wall, especially after hearing that letter by the late legend Bob Uecker. You see what this team's doing. This might be the year. Is this the year for Brewers fans? Let me know in the comments. Are you guys believing that this is the year? This is the year. You guys been knocking on the door for a minute now. I don't think you guys are the real deal. I'm going to be honest. I already got the Padres and Blue Jays World Series. That's my World Series matchup. I don't think you guys are the real deal. But let me know in the comments, bro. Should I start changing my way of thinking? Are you guys the real deal? Let me know in the comments right now. Congratulations on the playoff berth, though. Next, final game of the series. The Cardinals able to win that one 3-2 to avoid the sweep. But again, congrats to the Brewers, man. The best team in baseball as of right now, the best record. They're probably going to be having home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. So, hey, congrats to them. Final 2 series, guys. Hang on there with me. Cincinnati at the Athletics. Carlos Cortez, he had a 2-homer game. He leads the Athletics to a 3-0 win. 11-5 victory there in game number 2 for the Athletics as well. Nick Kurtz with a 493-foot grand slam. That's the longest shot of the season this year. 11-5 victory there. And then they bring out the brooms, bro. They bring out the brooms against the Reds. A 7-4 victory for the Athletics there. Nick Kurtz, another homer. And Brent Rooker had another homer as well. They actually had 2 run homers in this one. But listen, the Reds, The only thing that saves the rest is that the Mets struggled over the weekend. They are still in reach. They're still 2.5 games back from that final spot. So they still got a chance, guys. They still got a chance. But Reds Nation, you gotta step it up. You can't be losing these ball games. You should have beat the Athletics. We gotta be honest. Athletics aren't bad, but you should have won this series, bro. You should have won this series. At least win one, bro. At least win one. But anyways, that's the way that one went down. And then we had the LA Dodgers at the San Francisco Giants. Patrick Bailey with a walk-off grand slam in game number 1 in the bottom of the 10th inning, a 5-1 victory for the Giants there. The Dodgers, though, they come back. They're pissed off. They score 6 in the top of the 5th of game number 2. 13-7 victory there for them. And then they win the final game of the series, 10-2 victory there. Let's look at the standings, guys. Let's look at the standings. Actually, before we do that, let's look at the matchups that will be going on tonight. Chicago Cubs will be at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Toronto Blue Jays will be at the Tampa Bay Rays. The Baltimore Orioles will be at the Chicago White Sox. The New York Yankees will be at the Minnesota Twins. The Cincinnati Reds, at the St. Louis Cardinals. Texas Rangers at the Astros. Big series. Keep an eye on that. This is another big series. San Francisco Giants at the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then this is another big series as well. The Philadelphia Phillies at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Those are the series that are starting tonight. Then tomorrow night, you got the Cleveland Guardians at the Detroit Tigers. You got the Athletics at the Red Sox. You got the Padres at the Mets. That's another big series for sure. You got did I say Seattle Mariners at the Kansas City Royals? I probably didn't. You got the Baltimore Orioles at the Chicago White Sox. You got the LA Angels at the Milwaukee Brewers. You got the Miami Marlins at the Colorado Rockies. This is another big series here, guys. San Francisco Giants at the Arizona Diamondbacks. You got the Braves and Nationals as well. That's starting tonight. I didn't mention it before, but we will talk about that in the Braves forecast. So this is how the standings are looking, guys. National League East. I believe the Phillies may be able to clinch tonight. They might be able to clinch tonight with a win and a Mets loss. They're 89-61. Mets are 12 games back. Marlins, Atlanta, Washington Nationals follow that. National League Central, you got the Milwaukee Brewers 91-59. The Chicago Cubs are 5.5 games back. Cincy, St. Louis, Pittsburgh follow them. The National League West, you got the LA Dodgers 84-65, a 2.5 game lead over the Padres, who are 82-68. Then you got the Giants, Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Rockies to follow. American League East, the Blue Jays, they've won 4 in a row. They are 87-62. The Yankees 83-66. They're 4 games back there. Boston Red Sox 82-68. They're 5.5 games back. Then you got the Tampa Bay Rays and the Baltimore Orioles. American League Central 85-65 are the Detroit Tigers. The Cleveland Guardians sneaking up on them again, 6.5 games back. They won 4 in a row, 78-71, but it might be a little too late. The Royals 75-75. The Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox follow them. In the AL West, this is going to be a great final. You got the red hot, sparking hot Seattle Mariners. They won 9 games in a row. They're 82-68. They got a 1-game lead over the Houston Astros, who are 81-69. Texas Rangers are right there though, 79-71. They're 3 games back. Then you got the Athletics and the Angels there. Let's go to the wild card real quick before we move on. Wild card is as follows. You got the wild card picture. Milwaukee Brewers. You got the division leaders right now. Milwaukee, Philly, and the Dodgers. Those are the 3 division winners as of right now. You got the Cubs in the first spot in the wild card. San Diego Padres second spot. You got the New York Mets holding on to that final spot. They're holding on for dear life. You got the Giants 75-74, 1.5 games back. The Diamondbacks at 500. 2 games back. Cincinnati Reds, 74 and 75, 2.5 back. And then you got the St. Louis Cardinals, 73 and 77. I'm going to give you some respect. You have 4 games back. You still got a chance. As of the American League, the division leaders are the Toronto Blue Jays, Detroit Tigers, and the Seattle Mariners. Wild card, Yankees, they got the top spot. Boston, the second spot. Houston Astros holding on to the final spot at 81 and 69. The Rangers right behind them, though, 79 and 71. They're 2 games back. The Guardians, 78 and 71. They're 2.5 games back. Royals at 500, 6 games back. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do right there. That's all I'm gonna do. I'll give the Tampa Bay Rays a shot. I'll give them a shout out. They're 73 and 76. They're 7.5 games back. I'll give you your final shout out of the season here on the Chop Seat. Unless you go on a crazy streak, it's over, my friends. It's over. Anyway, that is what we got when it comes to the standings. It's gonna get good. It's already good. It's gonna get even better, man. It's gonna get even better. That's the fun thing about baseball. That is why we call it the great marathon when it comes to baseball. The only sport that it takes 162 games and more to determine who is the best team. It's not a sprint. Does your team have what it takes to last the 162 game gauntlet? Which team is the deepest? Which team is the most fundamental team out there? Fundamentally driven team out there. Which team is the hottest? It's also about who gets hot at the right time. There's a lot of ups and downs in the season, but who gets hot at the right time? Who gets cold at the not so right time also has to do with it. But that's why it's important to have a ball club that is deep, because you're going to have the ups and downs of the Major League season. I just love baseball, bro. You could hear it in my voice, right? I just love baseball. I live, I breathe our baseball. I love baseball. Anyways, that's what we got in the standings. Another great MLB segment. But now let's head into our final segment of the show.
It's time for your Braves forecast.
It's time for the Braves forecast, where we take a look at the upcoming Braves series, and it's a series of scrubs. I was making fun of the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Washington Nationals series while doing the MLB, but this is another series of scrubs. You gotta be honest. You gotta call it what it is. The Braves are coming into town 66 and 83 against the Nationals, who are 62 and 87. The battle for last place, maybe. Who knows? Game 1 is going to be tonight at 6:45 p.m. It's going to be Spencer Strider on the mound for the Braves. He's 5 and 13 with a 4.86 ERA, going up against Mitchell Parker, 8 and 15 with a 5.69 ERA. Tuesday, we got a doubleheader on Tuesday. Game 1 is going to be TBD against TBD. The battle of who's the better TBD. That's going to be going down in Game 1. But for Game 2, is going to be Chris Sale on the mound, 5 and 5 with a 2.52 ERA. He's going up against TBD for the Nationals. TBD's won back-to-back nights for the Nationals, bro. That is impressive. That's going to be Game 2 of the doubleheader. So he's pitching twice in a day, TBD. So shout out to TBD, bringing it back to how old school baseball was played. And then game number 4, that's going to be on Wednesday. Hurston Waldrop for the Braves, 4-1 with a 2.78 ERA, going up against Brad Lord, who's 5 and 8 with a 4.21 ERA. Remember, the Braves are starting their last road trip of the season. It's crazy, man, because it just feels like it was just yesterday, bro, that the season was starting, that I was excited, that I was like, yo, Braves are going to go crazy this year. It's going to be insane. We got Jurickson Profar. That's literally all we need to go far this season. Profar gets a PED suspension. He gets caught. Braves forget to hit the baseball for pretty much the whole first half. They start 0-7 on the road. They battle back to 500 at one point. Then they lose another 7 games in a row. Then they go 11 games under 500, 12 games. 13, 14, and so on. Now they're what, 17 games under 500. You lose all your starters. Don't forget that. You lose all your starters. You start having to go through waivers and pick up guys and bring guys up from the minors, and that doesn't work out. So it's been a nightmare season, bro. It's been a nightmare season for us. Again, I can't stress enough. I cannot wait for this season to end. Just simulate to the off season. Just simulate to the off season, and let's start getting ready for next season. Let's start getting ready for next season. That's what I want to start doing already. But listen, it is what it is. Again, last road trip for the Braves after they wrapped up the series on Washington. They're off on Thursday, and then they're going to be in Detroit for the final 3 games on the road, and then it's going to be the last homestand of the season. Yeah, man, it's somebody. I can't believe that the season's almost ending, bro. I can't believe it's almost done. It's almost done, bro. Like, it sucks when baseball's over. But anyways, that's all we got for the Chop Seat, guys. Thank you guys for continuing to support the show. Share the show, bro. Even if somebody doesn't love baseball, tell them, yo, add the Chop Seat to your playlist. Add them to the playlist. Just hit mark as played, bro. It counts as a play, I think. I think it counts as a play. So just hit mark as played. If you don't listen to it, if you're gonna share to somebody that doesn't listen to it, tell them, yo, just hit mark as played. It pops up as a listen. Send the Instagram page, send the X, Twitter, whatever you call it, send the Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, send it all. On all those platforms besides Instagram, it's at the Chop Seat. And then on Instagram, it's at the Chop Seat Pod. So thank you guys for continuing to support the show. We're going to wrap up this season pretty soon. It may become playoff time. I could do a recap of every single ball game. Get into that. We're gonna, it's gonna be less games, obviously. So maybe I'm able to cover, even though the Braves will be out of it, I'll still cover the playoff games. Maybe I can do a daily show when it comes time for it. So listen, thank you guys once again for tuning in. I'll see you on possibly Thursday. Rays are off Thursday, possibly Friday, before the final road series starts for the Braves. So again, thank you, and we will see you next time on the Chop Seat.